Hi everyone, welcome to DUE10012 Communicative English 1 Week 2 lesson with me Puan Ida Saryani binti Muhammad Isa. So in this topic, social and communication skills, you will learn how to agree or disagree to suggestion courteously, justify opinions through elaboration of main points and supporting details, and ask for and make clarification. Are you guys ready? Making agreement and disagreement to suggestions courteously. In the group discussion assessment, you will need to argue your points. In other words, give your opinion on the topics given with reason and evidence. This academic argument is different from ones you may have in everyday life. And although you may differ in terms of ideas in the discussion should always be civilized and polite. It is important to remember this even when you disagree with your friends' points. In such cases, you should try to disagree politely by first acknowledging their opinions before saying why you disagree. It is also possible to simply disagree, but you should avoid doing this too often as it may seem rude. So agree means you correspond to your friend's suggestion, and disagree means that you are opposing to their suggestion. So to make sure you're giving attention in a discussion, you should show some responses in the discussion. What you can do is you can state agreement with an opinion or an idea given by your group members. So here are the common phrases that you can use to express agreement. To express strong agreement, you can say, I strongly agree. I agree completely. That is certainly true. Yes, I'm sure you're right. Absolutely. Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. To show that you agree, you can say, I agree with you. You are right. That's true. I share the same view. I am of the same opinion. I am glad you mentioned that. Or, I see your point. So you can also agree but with some reservation, especially when there is a doubt or feeling of not being able to accept the opinion of your friends completely. So these are the phrases that is helpful for you to show that you partially agree to your friend's opinion. What you can say are, you could be right, but that's true, but I see your point, but that may be so, but your suggestion is good, but I agree with you to a certain extent. But it sounds like a good idea. But you don't always have to agree with your friend's opinion. Expressing disagreement is always respected as honest and sometimes as courageous. So if you have some doubts or don't agree with your friend's opinion, then you need to respond. So here are some ways for you to state disagreement. If you have strong disagreement, you can say, I disagree completely. That can't be true at all. That's absolutely untrue. That's totally out of the question. No, I don't like your suggestion. Or if you disagree, you can say, I disagree. I don't see it that way. I beg to differ. I don't think so. I'm not convinced that your suggestion will work. Or you can say, I think it will be better if. So justifying opinions through elaboration of main points and supporting detail is the main part of your discussion. So this is your statement, your ideas on what you have to say about the topic of your presentation. So presenting ideas should also be in the form of an organized manner, and it will increase the effectiveness of your delivery points. So how do you get to arrange your points in that manner? Let's start with introduction. Then you can use the OPE. O, state your opinion or suggestion. P, present your main points. And E, explain your points by giving a reason, which can be the cause, the effect, the solution, as well as an example. For example, good morning everyone. Illegal motorcycle racing among youth are the cause of the increase of road accidents. These motorcyclists drive recklessly and risking the lives of other road users. From statistics, many accidents happen when the motorcycle loses control due to speeding and performing dangerous stunts. The government should impose higher fines to prevent the illegal racing among youth. So here in this sample, you can take note of the main idea and how the main idea is supported with the supporting details and what are the explanations. For example, the effects and the solution mentioned from the problem. So let's look at the discussion in terms of the main points and the supporting details. So it first mentioned the main point, which is the cause. Illegal motorcycle racing among youth are the cause of the increase of road accidents. In the supporting details, it mentions the effect, the reason, and the solution. The effect, these motorcyclists drive recklessly and risking the lives of other road users. From statistics, many accidents happen when their motorcycles lose control due to speeding and performing dangerous stunts. And the solution? The government should impose higher fines to prevent the illegal racing among youth. Now, here are some information that you need to take note for the group discussion assessment. The first thing you must do when you get the topic is read it and underline the key points. When the preparation time begins, you must now brainstorm for all the ideas you want to give during the discussion. Please take note that during this time, you are not allowed to speak with your friends, and also you are not allowed to use any mobile devices or bring in any notes. How to score for this assessment? You must have 2 or more points. The points given should be well explained, so you can use the OPE, which is opinion, points, and explanation. And what you can do is, in presenting your main points, explain your points and give reason, for example, the cause, the effect, solution of the problem. So if, for example, you get the topic accidents, the possible main points could be causes of the accidents, the effects, and the solution of the accidents. So this is a sample on how you can brainstorm for the discussion idea. Think about a main point. For example, you are talking about bad driver's attitude. And what would be the supporting point? Drink and drive. So that will cause drunk drivers. And how do you elaborate on your points? Example, the drivers are not supposed to drive if they are drunk under alcohol. So this is a solution. When they are drunk, they lose control of their cars of driving. So this is an explanation what happens if you get drunk. They can create many problems such as causing accidents, leading to death of others, be it driver, passenger, or pedestrian. So this would be the effects of when you're drunk. Okay? And another point would be irresponsible drivers. Okay? And these are the supporting or the elaboration that you can give from one point. All right? All right, so how do you make your discussion more smooth and more interesting? Okay, you need to be able to use expressions or linkers. And let's look at some of the expressions that you can use in a group discussion. So firstly, you would of course need to greet your examiners or your friends. You can say good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone, or good morning sir and all my friends. A very good morning to sir, madam and friends. But be careful when you are referring to time. When you are doing your group discussion, also take note of the time. So if it is in the morning, then you can say good morning, right? If it's in the afternoon, do not say good morning. You would need to say good afternoon. So that's why I say you must take note of the time of your group discussion. Next, to state the situation or task given. So in order for you to get a clear picture of what you'll be discussing on, you need to state what is the situation. So this means that you can actually rephrase the questions or the situation given to you by your lecturers. So you can say the situation states that based on the situation given, according to the situation, right? Or you can just say, we are discussing on the situation, okay? To introduce a point or a view. So you can say, in my opinion, I believe that, it is in my view that, based on my opinion. To introduce the first point. First of all, I propose. For a start, I would like to suggest. I would like to begin by. To signal a main point. So signaling a main point also signals the examiners or your lecturer on your points. So this is very important. If you signal a main point, which means that the examiners are listening to your points and taking it down. So what you can say is, my main point is, it is important to, one important reason is, or you can say, the most important factor is. Next, to illustrate a point. So illustrating a point means you are giving the examples, or you are elaborating on your point. So what you can say, therefore, this means that, this is because, on top of that, according to. Next, to provide an examples. So like I say, examples is very important. It shows that you are giving your ideas, elaboration of your ideas. So to indicate that you are pointing out an examples, you can say, for example, for instance, one example is, take for example, or you can say such as. Next, to start a new point. So like you are mentioning your first point, it is also important for you to mention that you're moving to a new point. Again, the lecturers will be listening to this keyword. Okay, once you say this, they are aware that you have another point to say. So what you can say is, secondly, my next point is, another suggestion is, next I would like to highlight. Another point that I would like to emphasize is, next we come to, moving on to my next point. Next, to refer what you have said. So some of your friends might tend to repeat what you say. So you can actually refer to what you have said earlier, right? Or you want to connect your next point to your earlier point. So these are the things that you can say. As I have said earlier, I mentioned earlier that, as I said at the beginning, I have pointed out earlier that. Next, to signal cause and effect. So signaling cause and effect is also important, and you are noting that you have your ideas, your supporting ideas and elaboration here. Okay, so what you can say is, this in turn can lead to. For this reason, as a result, due to, as a consequence, so that, because of, if, then. Next, to signal that you are about to move on to a possible solution, you can use question form. For example, so what can be done to solve this problem? What should we do? Let's look at some of the possible ways. Or you can say, now let's consider some possible solutions. And to signal that you are drawing a conclusion from what has been said earlier, you can say thus, hence, therefore, as a result, and this in turn can lead to. Lastly, to conclude. This is at the end of your discussion or at the end of the points that you have stated. You can say in conclusion, in a nutshell, in short, therefore my suggestion is, as a conclusion I suggest, let me conclude by saying that, I would like to conclude by saying that. So the word conclude can be used. All right. The next subtopic is ask for and make clarification. So in communication, clarification involves offering back to the speaker the essential meaning as understood by the listener of what they have just said, thereby checking that the listener's understanding is correct and resolving any areas of confusion or misunderstanding. So, the purpose of asking clarification is to ensure that the listener understands what you are saying, right? It reassures the speaker that the listener is interested in them. So these are the common expression on how you want to ask clarification in English. For example, what do you mean by? Do you mean? Could you say that again, please? Could you repeat, please? Could you clarify that, please? Would you elaborate on that, please? Could you be more explicit? Could you explain what you mean by? Could you give us some example? I wonder if you can say that in a different way. Could you put it differently, please? Could you be more specific, please? So notice the word could, would, and please. So these words are showing that you are making clarification in a polite manner. Next, how to clarify your ideas. So someone have asked you to clarify your points. So you can begin by saying, let me explain that. Let me explain that in more detail. Sorry, let me explain. In other words, to say this differently, to put it differently, right? So let's say that your friend is in the midst of breaking down his points and you don't understand what he or she is saying. So these are the expressions that you can use if you lack of understanding on the points. You can say, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon, but I don't quite understand. I'm not sure I know what you mean. I'm not quite sure I follow you. I don't quite see what you mean. So this is also an important part of a discussion, because in a discussion, you need to have interaction between your group members. So you don't just nod at every point that is given by each of your members. You need to be able to ask for clarification if you don't understand on a certain point. all for the lesson. Thank you for watching. If you have any question, you can comment below. If you like the contents, you can click the thumbs up button and do subscribe for more lessons on communicative English. Again, thanks for watching. Goodbye.